person walks into their favorite coffee shop to buy a $5 cup of coffee. They swipe their card, declined. They swipe their card again, and their ears start getting red, and their heart beats a little bit faster. Declined again. They swipe their card a third time, and their mind starts racing. They knew that they had enough money in their bank account to pay for this cup of coffee. But what they forgot was that Netflix auto-drafts on the first of the month, and today is the first of the month. Finances are a significant stress on average Americans. And in a 2021 HelpGuide.org article by Lawrence Robinson titled Coping with Financial Stress, Lawrence lays out the significance and the dangers and the symptoms of financial stress. And those symptoms include anxiety, depression, insomnia, and substance abuse. In fact, half of U.S. individuals experience anxiety whenever it comes to money. That's according to a 2018 Northwestern Mutual study, and the media release was titled, Money is the Leading Source of Happiness and Stress. That same study found that finances are the largest portion of what Americans are stressed about, and that comes at 44%. And two of the three biggest reasons and areas why people are stressed about money is unplanned expenditures. But by definition, somebody can plan for those expenditures. That could be a healthcare or a financial emergency. So there's a type of person that winds up in these types of emergencies and has a lot of stress surrounding finances. That type of person is the average person. A 2020 Global Benefits Attitude Survey by Willis Towers Watson found that 38% of U.S. individuals live paycheck to paycheck. Okay. But what's more interesting than that is 1 in 5 individuals who make over $100,000 a year live paycheck to paycheck. So it's not just a money issue. There's some disconnect between money and how the money is being spent. Especially considering that the median income for the average individual is only above $41,000 a year, and that's according to 2020 census data information. Money is slippery, and if a person is not careful with how they spend their money, it can slip out of their hands very easily. This is most obvious whenever it comes to food. The 2019 U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics from the Consumer Expenditures Report found that 7.4% of all income was spent on food. But that seems justifiable. What's very interesting about that is that nearly half of all the expenditures was spent on food outside of the home, which means that nearly half of all food expenditures could be eliminated entirely, or at least in half. That means people's abilities to deal with financial stress and burden is inhibited by the stress created by money itself. But there are solutions to the stress that comes along with money. And the best way is to confront the problem head on. A consensus of psychological studies on anxiety disorder treatment found that one of the best treatments for anxiety disorders was exposure therapy, or just confronting a problem head on. That's according to Dr. Kaplan in a 2011 article on the Psychiatric Times titled Exposure Therapy for Anxiety Disorders. Exposure to finances includes forming a plan, making a map to where a person wants to go and where they want to wind up whenever they finish a trip. It's making a map where they want their money. And that's called making a budget. The Department of Education's page, Why I Should Create a Budget, explains the basics of budgeting. But what it does the best is it explains the utility of a budget. Budgets can be used to create short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals by allowing a person to write down their income and their expenses. A person can make a plan for how they're going to pay short-term goals like next month's rent. They can figure out how they're going to pay for medium-term goals like next month's tuition, and they can figure out how they're going to pay for long-term goals like finishing paying off their student loans or reducing the amount of student loans that they have in the long run by maybe getting a second job in the present term. And the site does a very good job of explaining budgets, and there are ways on the website to show the average person how to create a budget. And budgeting is financial management on its face. Through budgeting gives a person control over their lives, over their finances. Finances are intermingled in every part of a person's lives. And if a person takes control of their finances, they take control of their lives. And that stress that used to come from their finances dissipates because they have control and they have a plan, and they're confronting their problems head on, just like exposure therapy. And by coming up with a plan and effectively managing a person's finances, they can genuinely stave off the harsh effects that financial stress creates.